Hello, everyone. I am Chris, and welcome to my research seminar. For a few seconds, I would like you to imagine working in an excellent school with an exceptional educational policy. You have competitive salaries with substantial government subsidies, minimal salary deductions, a comprehensive health insurance package, and a strong culture of professional development, even opportunities to travel abroad for benchmarking at no cost. Why might you or other teachers still choose to leave even when policies and benefits seem ideal? This was my experience in Macau and Hong Kong. But despite these benefits, many teachers, including myself, still choose to leave the workplace. This highlight that policies alone are not enough. The practices and support of school leadership play a critical role in whether teachers stay or leave the workplace or the teaching profession. My research investigates the question: what school leadership practices influence teacher retention? A review of 8 peer reviewed articles revealed the 4 key themes that significantly influence teachers' decisions to remain in their schools or workplaces. These themes highlight not only formal management strategies, but also the relational, the cultural, and the emotional aspects of leadership that influence teachers' professional experiences and commitment. The first theme is supportive leadership and teacher well being. Across all studies reviewed, supportive leadership consistently emerges as the most powerful factor in teacher retention. For example, Boyd et al. Conducted a large scale mixed method study of New York City public schools and found that teachers' perceptions of administrative support were the strongest predictor of retention, even more significant than salary, class size, or student demographics. Similarly, Doughty examined the exit and transfer surveys from several urban districts and concluded that leadership directly influences multiple aspects of teachers' working conditions, such as workload, student behavior management, and performance evaluation processes. These findings emphasize that when teachers feel supported, valued, and understood by their administrators, they are more likely to remain in their roles. Additionally, Arthur and Bradley explored how intrinsic motivators like resilience and enjoyment are strengthened by external support from leadership and colleagues. They argue that leaders who recognize teacher efforts and provide non judgmental support foster environments where teachers feel psychologically safe. Towers and McGuire also discuss this emotional dimension, showing that leadership styles and accountability structures shape teacher morale and professional identity. In their vignettes, supportive leadership helps teachers navigate challenges, whereas rigid or punitive approaches contribute to burnt out and attrition. Together, these studies demonstrate that empathy, recognition, and relational care are not soft skills, but are essential leadership practices that sustain teacher well being. However, they also raise a critical question: can such practices be sustained in high pressure environments where leaders face constant demands for measurable outcomes? This tension between care and accountability reappears throughout the literature. The second theme is teacher autonomy and participatory decision making, or the extent to which teachers are trusted as professionals and included in decision making. According to Nguyen et al., who conducted a systematic review of 355 studies, leadership approaches that promote professional autonomy, development, and participatory governance have the strongest positive effect on teacher commitment and retention. Teachers are far more likely to stay when they feel empowered to make instructional decisions and influence school policies. Towers and McGuire also note that a lack of autonomy can erode teacher identity. When teachers are treated as implementers rather than professionals, particularly under rigid accountability systems, many begin to disengage or leave the profession altogether. Together, these findings suggest that teacher agency is both a psychological and structural condition for retention. Leaders who create opportunities for shared leadership through collaborative planning, school committees, or instructional coaching help build stronger, more resilient teaching communities. Urich deepens this argument by distinguishing between teachers' perceptions of leadership style and actual engagement with those styles. Using multi level latent class analysis of national data, Urich identified four leadership types: integrated, transitioned, balkanized, and limited. The key takeaway is that engagement, not perception, determines retention. In other words, teachers stay when leadership structures allow them to meaningfully participate in shaping school culture. The third theme is strategic human capital management. While supportive and participatory leadership practices are widely endorsed, another perspective highlights the strategic management of human capital, especially when leaders recruit, develop, and retain talent. Grissom and Bartonen found that principals, principals use data driven approaches to retain high performing teachers while counseling out those deemed less effective. This strategic retention involves offering better working conditions and leadership opportunities to strong performers. However, Bloshield and Selig caution that this strategy can produce tension and ethical dilemmas. Their cross case study of 23 school leaders found that while participants valued adult culture and teacher well being, they often felt constrained by external pressures like accountability measures and test based performance mandates. These pressures sometimes forced leaders into contradictory practices, like attempting to support teachers while simultaneously enforcing rigid evaluation systems. This theme highlights the complexity of leadership in accountability driven systems. While data informed strategies may improve performance outcomes, they can also lead teachers to feel expendable or undervalued. The challenge, therefore, lies in balancing care and control, equity, and effectiveness. Effective leadership requires a human centered approach to strategic management, ensuring that all teachers, regardless of performance level, receive opportunities to grow and succeed. The the fourth theme is professional development and collegial relationships. This final theme emphasizes professional growth and collegiality as key components of teacher retention. Arthur and Bradley argue that strong collegial relationships enhance resilience and job satisfaction. When teachers feel part of a supportive professional community, they are more likely to persevere through challenges. Additionally, Bloshield and Seligs advocate for peer mentoring and support networks, which improve adult culture and teacher morale. Nguyen et al. Offered a comprehensive framework for professional development, recommending that leaders provide constructive feedback, facilitate skill building opportunities, and promote collaborative learning. They emphasize that professional development should be ongoing, responsive to individual needs, and aligned with school goals. Grissom and Bartonen connect this to leadership strategy, arguing that principals should invest in leadership training for themselves and for teachers as this strengthens the overall capacity and retention. Finally, Towers and McGuire note that mentoring and workload adjustments can help teachers navigate identity crisis and career transitions, which is another important retention factor. All of these studies show that professional development is not just about acquiring new skills, it is also about building relationships, fostering reflection, and creating career pathways. Schools must invest in these processes, cultivate a culture of growth, belonging, and professional purpose. Bringing together the four themes identified in this review, effective school leadership emerges as the integration of empathy, participatory engagement, strategic foresight, and developmental support, creating environments where teachers are more likely to remain committed. Supportive leadership enhances morale, well being, and trust by demonstrating care, recognition, and responsiveness. Participatory decision making builds teacher agency and professional ownership, strengthening long term commitment. On the other hand, strategic human capital management uses data to retain teachers while addressing performance, requiring a careful ethical balance to maintain trust. Lastly, professional development and collegiality foster belonging, growth, and job satisfaction through mentoring, collaboration, and constructive feedback. As a whole, treating teachers as valued professionals rather than replaceable staff has the most enduring impact on retention. However, sustaining supportive and participatory practices can be challenging under strict accountability pressures, and strategic retention strategies may erode trust if fairness and relational dynamics are overlooked. These tensions highlight that school leadership requires not only managerial skill and strategic decision making, but also emotional intelligence to balance institutional demands and genuine care for teachers' well being. To conclude, teachers' retention is not merely an HR or policy issue, it reflects leadership culture within schools. These studies reviewed collectively show that when leaders cultivate environments grounded in support, autonomy, fairness, and growth, teachers are more likely to stay, thrive, and contribute meaningfully to student success. Moving forward, future research should explore how leaders sustain supportive practices amid external accountability pressures, how strategic retention can be implemented ethically and equitably, and how professional development can evolve into a genuine vehicle for teacher empowerment. Ultimately, retaining teachers means retaining the heart of education itself, and that, as a literature makes clear, begins with leadership that prioritizes human connection, trust, and professional respect. These are my references, and thank you so much for listening to this presentation.